here's Brody Brazil.
You know, the voicemail line is ready anytime you are. 833-4-BRODY, that's the number. If you've got a question or a comment or a contribution, I'll take all of it. I literally listen to all of the messages, and then I play back and respond to the very best ones.
Hi, Brody. My name's Anthony from Minneapolis, and a few days ago, ESPN put out an article that discusses how the winner of the LCS, and now likely the World Series, as the Dodgers are currently up 5-0 in the 7th as I record this,
they won,
could have an impact on the whole salary cap argument that's going on with the CBA expiration and the lockout on the horizon. The article's main point is that if the Dodgers win the LCS and by extension the World Series, the league can go, see, this is why we need the cap.
Right.
But if someone other than the Dodgers comes out on top, that gives leverage to the players to just go, why do we need a cap when that just happened?
Right.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on that and any other data points you can find that can either concur or go against the premise of that take. Love the videos and keep up the good work.
Anthony, thank you very much for the call. As you may recognize, this is a quick turnaround. You just left this voicemail. I'm just making this video to have it out ASAP because the Dodgers are, in fact, headed to the World Series. By the way, shout out to Jeff Passan, who wrote that piece at ESPN.com before this series got started. It made that great point that you reference. We've got the small market Milwaukee Brewers in the NLCS against the very big extreme market, bigger than we've ever seen a team built before, Los Angeles Dodgers. And you know what? It was about as one-sided of a series as you can get, a 4-game sweep. The Dodgers, again, headed to the Fall Classic, and the Brewers are just going to have to rebuild. Question is, the way the Dodgers spend year after year, can they get back here again to an NLCS again next year? Yeah, probably, right? Can the Brewers do that? The way they spend and operate? More on that in just a second. I'll get into my team thoughts, Dodger thoughts, salary cap thoughts, salary floor thoughts in just a second. Everybody said the Dodgers were ruining baseball, and then Dave Roberts got up in the postgame and gave his speech and said, you know what? They said we were ruining baseball. Let's really ruin it now and win 4 more games and win the World Series. But I need to start by focusing on Shohei Ohtani. If there's one thing that's not ruining baseball, it's Ohtani's performance on the diamond. Now, I know you can tell me about his deferred money in the contract. You can tell me about how he kind of started that thing with the Dodgers, even though they were kind of ready to spend already. I'm just talking about a performance in a game that decided whether or not you get to advance to the World Series. Dodgers could have lost a game or 2 or 3 and still made it to the series, but this was a clinching game, and a clinching game to go to the World Series. Shohei Ohtani was the starting pitcher who went 6 innings, who allowed just 2 hits, no earned runs. Oh my gosh, he walked 3. That's the big blemish. He walked 3, but also struck out 10. Shohei Ohtani, did he strike out the first 3 batters? Struck out the side and the top of the first, and then bottom of the first. Oh yeah, he's the Dodger leadoff hitter. Solo shot to start the game. One of his 3 home runs in the game. 3 for 3. He also walked once. Shohei Ohtani put on a performance like I don't know if we've ever seen in Major League Baseball, in a postseason game, in a clinching game like this, pitching and hitting like he did. 10 strikeouts, 3 homers for Shohei Ohtani. But then we really start to digest what's about to happen here. And the Dodgers sweep, not just their advancing into the World Series, if it was a well-played back-and-forth series, maybe some arguments both ways could be made about, hey, the Brewers had a chance and that's why you play the games and it's not decided on paper. Or if the Brewers advanced, oh my gosh, anything can happen. And you know what? The Dodgers, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. The thing is, the Dodgers didn't fall really in the regular season. The Dodgers haven't fallen in the postseason, and they steamrolled their way through the NLCS. Whoever's about to face them in the World Series, I mean, what an intimidation factor that's going to be. But the Dodgers, not just getting to the World Series, but sweeping their way in, is going to reignite how people feel about the Dodgers one way or the other. And I'm not here to present the negative light only. I'm just saying that is going to be prominent. I'm looking at this honestly from an objective standpoint here. I'm telling you how people are going to feel. It's going to reignite their passions and maybe some of their disagreements on how this team was built with the amount of payroll and the way it happened and the deferral of money and how one signing after the next just kept happening, and how this team spent $350 million on players' salaries this year, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. They're also going to spend an estimated $142 million on the luxury tax for paying $350 million to their players this year. That means that the Los Angeles Dodgers are about to pay more this season on their luxury tax than the Brewers paid on their entire payroll. The Brewers' payroll is $121.7 million here in 2025. The Dodgers' luxury tax payment alone is $142. I get it. I see how that's going to be a conversation piece, a centerpiece, a headline. Like, that's going to be something that's easy for everybody to see. And there is something to be said, but look, we have a system in place. It's a soft cap. If teams go over that soft cap, they have to pay, and you've got to be really creative if you want to be a team that can afford that. Again, the Dodgers are in a big market. Maybe they're better positioned with advertising, but they've also made a lot of the right moves. I get it. I get why people focus on that. But as much as the focus is going to be at the top of Major League Baseball payrolls, I think as we approach the CBA being renegotiated and potentially a lockout starting at the 2027 season, I think there also needs to be some attention at the bottom, at the very bottom of Major League Baseball payrolls across this league. Teams like the Marlins, the White Sox, the Rays, the Pirates, and, oh yeah, those Athletics. Historically, teams that have not spent a lot of money in recent years, are they even trying? And should there be a salary floor, as much as there's already a salary cap? What I think most people don't even realize they're asking for is a hard salary cap. Like you've got in the National Hockey League. There's a number, and it goes up year after year, but there's a number you simply cannot exceed. Baseball, you can exceed it, you just pay for it. But how about a floor number? Hockey has that also. They've got a hard floor. Every team needs to spend to a certain amount of money, and actually, if you look at the window between the salary cap and the salary floor in the NHL, historically, it used to be wider. It's starting to get a lot more narrow. In fact, it's a lot more narrow than you might think. What if all baseball teams had to spend at least $150 million in 2026? And then the Dodgers decided to spend $350 on their own. Okay, but at least that 2-to-1 ratio doesn't feel as bad as what's literally a 3-to-1 ratio, 350 to 121. I know I'm not doing my math perfectly there, but it's close to a 3-to-1 ratio in terms of payroll between the Dodgers and the Brewers. At least if we're cutting that in half, we're making baseball theoretically that much more competitive. Owners don't want to do that to each other. They don't want to make that limit, that threshold, and say, well, everybody's got to spend to come to this party, because enough of them aren't going to want that. So where do we even end up here? Players certainly don't want a salary cap. I don't think players would be mad at a salary floor, because then every team's got to spend up to a certain amount. But teams don't want to have a salary floor either, because some of them are trying to avoid all of this and not trying to spend and trying to just go through seasons, because you know what? Winning can be expensive. Trying to get back and win year after year and build your team and get more chances at it, that's expensive. Some teams are really interested in that. Other teams aren't so interested in that. They want to catch lightning in a bottle, and if they grab it, great. But that's it. That was their one chance. Now, I don't know about the Brewers. They seem to just keep regenerating, respawning, if you will. And the Brewers don't spend a lot, but they seem to get more chances than most other teams. I take it back to something I said earlier in this video. Here's the difference about spending, right? And this is the argument for the floor versus the cap. The cap is what it is, and sometimes you can be the Mets. Look how much they've spent. Look how much the Padres have spent in recent years. The Yankees have also been there spending a lot and not getting everything they want out of it. Spending opens doors for you. It doesn't guarantee what maybe the Dodgers are trying to do here again. But the question is, the Dodgers are spending like this. Can they get back to an NLCS in 2026? I believe They're already the favorites, if I'm being honest. Things can happen. It's sports. That's why we watch it. But they've spent enough to make that way more of a chance and an opportunity. Can the Brewers get back? Or do they need to have a magical season like they've had? Or how about like the Mariners, for example? Spending's a little bit different there, but so many things went right for the Mariners on the American League side. Can they get back to an ALCS next year? Does spending, $50, $70 million more next year, would that help them out? Sure. And that's the difference here. So I'm talking about the bottom teams that make it for 1 year, make it for 2 years, and then you don't hear from them because they're not willing to keep their players. Paul Skeens, I'll go back to this one, of the Pirates. Is he just going to be a Dodger already someday? Is he watching his future team right now? Because the Pirates aren't going to shell out for him. But the Dodgers will. They'll find a way. And because of all of this, and yes, to Jeff Passan's writing of ESPN.com, did I mention that, by the way, at the very beginning? Jeff Passan, I say friend of the channel. I'm a big admirer of his work. We've crossed paths before professionally. I've told him as much that I think the work he does is great. I think he brings up this excellent point that the Brewers were the example of the low-spending team, and the Dodgers are the prime example of the high-spending team. And unfortunately, what just played right into the narrative that, we need a salary cap. Well, you should also look at this and say, do we need a salary floor? Again, can the Brewers get back? If you think they can, then maybe we don't need a salary floor. But I would suspect most of you think that the Brewers next year will face some huge competition to even get back to an NLCS, and that's why we need a salary floor. More teams trying, more teams upping what they spend, keeping their players. You know what? How about this? The Dodgers and who's on their roster, would they have a chance of keeping all of those players? Would the Dodgers have a chance of signing and acquiring all of those players if those players' former teams had kept them? Think about that for a second. 2027 lockout, in my opinion, because of a lot of different things, but additionally because of this Dodgers-Brewers series that just completed, I think that lockout is now, to Jeff's point, even more likely. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Also, while you're down there, thumbs up on this video helps me, the video, and the channel. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you back here next time.